Hello everyone, ObiVanDamme here and welcome back to Anno 1800. In today's episode I first will start with a small guide on trade routes. I did some thinking about how to transport goods from one source to multiple destinations, which usually happens the first time you unlock artisans on a second island and have to distribute rum or cotton fabric in our case for today to multiple destinations, well both islands with artisans. In our case it's it's our main capital in the old world, or the starting island in the old world, and Crown Falls in Cape Trelawney. So we not only have two island destinations, we also have two sessions, and there are actually multiple ways to do that. I would like to show you all of them, or all of which I could think of at the moment, and I hope all the newer players that potentially came to the game through the release of High Life will learn something. And if there are any veteran players watching this and I do something extremely wrong, or maybe you have some better ideas, or even you agree and I'm not a complete idiot, let me know. So let's hop into the trade route menu, and we will create a new trade route. So the simplest, or the most efficient, most cost efficient way to transport things from one source to multiple destinations is to create two trade routes. First one will go from the source to the destination, which is Gretelwald. You will grab the good you want to transport. In our case it's cotton fabric. Unload, done. That's the first one. Okay, problem is, wait a second, let's just create a group real quick, where we are going to hide all the existing trade routes we currently have. So let's do that, hide the group, we are done. Okay, so that's the first one, and then you just simply create a second one, trade route. You go from over here to Cape Trelawney, Crown Falls, and you do the exact same thing, like that. Now you have two trade routes, and goods will be transported to multiple destinations. Simple as that. It's the most efficient, or most cost and time efficient way, because the ships will travel the shortest distance possible. They will travel either from A to B or from A to C. They will load and unload every single good they transport, so the loading time is also minimized. And well, you only need two ships. So that's the most time and cost efficient way you can set up a trade route. The drawbacks are that there are a lot of parameters you need to adjust and balance in order for that to work, because especially for intermediate goods like cotton fabric over here, you will most likely have a very balanced production of that good. So usually you set up your fur coat dealers or fur coat factories so that all the cotton fabric you produce is also consumed. So that means if you have imbalances in distribution, you will get imbalances in production. So at one point you will get more cotton fabric that you can actually produce, which normally is not bad. But if you have two destinations and the production is completely balanced, that means that this oversupply in one location means a shortage in the other location. So the amount of goods that you take with you on your ship and that you unload actually is kind of important, because that's how you have to... Oh nice, upgrading of export goods, perfect. Because that's how you balance the amount of goods that arrive at the destination. You cannot, and the problem is you cannot just say, well, for example, Crown Falls has twice the amount of consumption for cotton than we have in the old world. So we just take twice the amount with us because travel times vary. So it's kind of hard to make that perfectly balanced. And even if you produce too much of one good so that you can compensate for slight imbalances in distribution, that changes every time you add something to the production line, and it's always hard to figure out what are the right numbers. You need to wait multiple or at least one entire journey to make sure everything is working as intended. That gets screwed up if there is a waiting line at your harbor, so you have to look after that. There's a lot of stuff you have to adjust for this to work. It's simple to set up. There's not much you can do wrong. And it's, as I said, also the most efficient way. But it's not the approach that I like the most. So let's delete that and let's try something else. The next thing you can do is you will create a trade route that goes from your source, Mahadoni, to one of the destinations, Gretelwald, and then to the final destination, Crown Falls. And then you take the goods with you, and then you will just unload, let's say we'll unload 20 right here, and then we can just keep that at 50. It will always have 30, so let's just type that in. Doesn't really matter. You can do it that way. So that means that the travel time of the ship itself does not or is taken out of the equation, because you will always distribute 50 goods or 50 tons of cotton fabric 20 to 30. So that way the time it takes for the ship to travel doesn't matter, because the distribution is always the same. Disadvantage is the travel time might be longer, because traveling from the new world to the old world, from the old world to Cape Trelawney, and from Cape Trelawney back to the old world might take longer than just having trips going from A to C, potentially. And the next disadvantage is this all will fall apart if the ship is not able to load 50 goods when it arrives. So if one production cycle is smaller than one trading cycle, suddenly it will only take 30 with it. But then it will always unload 20 over here, so Crown Falls will only get 10, which means you again have an imbalance, which is not entirely what you want. But if your production is high enough, that works, and it even works better than the approach I showed you previously. Because you can control the distribution not by travel time, but you can actually see how the distribution is working. That's also a possibility. Final possibility, and that's the one that I usually do, is you create two trade routes again, but you will create the first one. Don't need that yet. The first one from the source, where you produce your goods, to the less important island. So let's say that's the one in the old world. Cape Trelawney, of course, is our capital. So what we'll do here is we will load the cotton fabric and unload it over here. And then we will create another trade route. But this time our origin will be the old world. And from there we will transport the goods to Crown Falls. Like that. And that's actually the one that we are going to use in the Let's Play series for multiple reasons. First of all, we do not have to split the production at one single location. In the first approach, the location where we split the production was the origin island in the new world. In the second approach, we split the items on the ship itself. If you set it up like that, this will not happen. You basically have a straight line of ships going from A to B and then from B to C, and you never have to split production, because what you can now do is you go to the old world, and over here you can set a minimum stock for the required good. For example, 50. That does not matter. All you have to make sure now is that this minimum stock that you set here will last enough time for the ship to go back to the new world and come back here. And that's easily adjustable. This is not limited to the amount of cargo stacks you have on your ship. So if you work with a schooner, the minimum supply needs to be 100 if you adjust the trade routes, but here you can adjust to whatever you want, so this scales up easily. You can also lower the supply, whatever. And that way you make sure that this trading post in the old world will always have enough to get its job done, and then everything that exceeds this minimum amount will be taken by the second trade route and brought over to Crown Falls. So what does that mean? That means if you, or it means multiple things. If you overproduce in the new world, right here, if you produce more cotton fabric than we actually need, that means it will pile up in our final destination. It will not get split at somewhere, but the least important destination, which is the old world, will only have as much as it needs, and all the excess amount will be stored in your capital, where you most of the time are working on. In most cases, that will be Crown Falls. That also means if you underproduce for some reason, some production is, I don't know, out of place. I don't know why that would happen. Potentially not for intermediate goods, but it might happen for rum, for example. That means that it will not slowly happen that multiple islands do not have enough of a certain good and things start to fall apart everywhere. Because if you use one of the previous approaches, that would mean that if you produce not enough, all destinations will not receive enough. So you will suddenly have shortages everywhere. If you use the approach that we are currently using right here, where you transport from A to B and then from B to C, that means you will only have shortages in the final location. If you start to have shortages in the locations before, then you really have a massive deficit. That should normally never happen. By the way, this approach also works if you have 3, 4, or 5 destinations. You always set up your trade routes to go from one destination to the second one, so that all trade routes form a line, basically, with just one origin, one destination, without any splits. And that way you will recognize overproduction or underproduction in only one location, which is the location you are working on.
Add to go to press.
So that means you will recognize it early enough in the game and usually don't have any problems. If you change production on one of the intermediate islands, you just have to raise the minimum amount on that island. I usually prefer to limit goods via the minimum stock feature in the trading post, because over here it's easy to see how much you actually need. So you can see we don't need a minimum stock for, let's say we would already have trade routes running. You could easily see we don't need a minimum stock for certain goods because we have enough of it. We might need to raise it for cotton fabric because we don't have it, much of this stuff lying around. So that's always easier than going to the trade routes menu and figuring out how much would you need to unload here or how much would you need to load here in one of the trade routes, which might actually become multiple. Also, if you separate the trade routes with just one source and one destination, it's easier to scale the ships on each trade route.
Presence of a virtuoso.
Oh, nice. We got the Iron Founder in Little Wallet. Thank you. Perfect. So if you need more ships, because one of the trade routes, usually it's the trade routes in the earlier stages because they need to transport more goods. The later in the queue your trade route is, the less ships it needs. So it's easier to adjust for that if you have multiple trade routes. What you could do is you could achieve the same thing with just a single trade route, and I will show you how that works. You go to the new world, select your starting location, you go to the old world, select your intermediate location, and then you go to Cape Trelawney and set your final destination. But now, this time, what you do is you load your good over here, you unload it over here, but then instead of changing the amount you unload, what you will do is you will just load the good back in. So that's basically the same thing. This part over here, loading cotton, unloading cotton, Mahadonia and Gretelwald is the first trade route. Loading good in Gretelwald and unloading in Crown Falls is the second one. And this thing right here will actually use the minimum stock you set in the trading depot. So that means if, for example, you have 30 tons of cotton fabric already in the trading post, it will unload 50, meaning you have 80 in the stock, and then it will just only load 30 back onto the ship. So this is basically the same thing as saying I want to unload 20 and 30, but dynamically. So this will dynamically adjust based on how much is still in stock and what's the minimum stock you have set. This is not the most efficient one because unloading 50 and loading 30 goods back in is means that you will actually have to wait for the loading time of 80 tons of goods being transferred. So it's slower than just unloading 20 here and 30 here, but it's more robust. So this is basically the same, except for the fact that you might have, you cannot adjust parts of the trade routes with more ships. So that means all the ships that will use this route will potentially be clippers, and they will have a full cargo for the first part of the journey, and then they will travel almost empty on the later stages of the journey. So in the beginning that might be fine, but as soon as you start to have a third destination, yeah, that's at the latest point where this still makes sense. After that, I would recommend splitting the trade routes so you can adjust your ships dynamically. Yeah, so that are the possibilities on how to distribute goods to multiple destinations. I prefer the second to last approach, multiple trade routes all arranged in one line. It's the most flexible one, it's the most robust one in my eyes. It might not be the most cost efficient and time efficient approach, but it works and it makes sure that you only have to adjust things in the warehouses where you actually need the goods for the intermediate stops, and that you will see overproduction and underproduction in the final destination where you are most of the time working on. So that's it for the guide section of this video. Now we have 10 minutes left where we can do some actual let's play. So let's do that. We will go over here, and we now need to set up the cotton production that we were talking about in this video. I think this was a little bit too far. Let's see. Yeah, I want to have one over here, and I would like to have one over here. We will then do road. And these need to go over just so it looks better.
To watch.
You now need the cotton plantation. Oh, and now there's the... I don't have that much space left. Yeah, having cotton fields right next to the oil well. Fantastic. Okay, so that's working.
The land has to be prepared first.
And I think that should be more than enough. Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's start right here. Fill all of that in. Fill all of this in. And we are good. I think we should have enough space for at least one more plantation. Wait a second. I think if we remove this and add a road, yeah, this road will go straight through all the way back to this depot. And then you can get this field and these fields. Oh, come on, one more. Just like that. Okay, so that's all the cotton. Let's add one more cotton mill somewhere back here. That looks like a perfect location.
Help the old man with a hat, por favor.
A delivery quest. Okay,
You're
what do you
not too
want?
important to help an old man up a hill.
Wood. We should
Did you
have
finish?
that, right? Yep, we did.
Así se hace.
Nice.
Way to go.
Ooh, the parrot for the zoo. Actually, what we can do we have... no, we don't. I'm just wondering if we have a public mooring. No, over here. No, we do not. We don't have it unlocked yet, right? Yeah, this is in the Obrera Zoo. Okay, fine. But we should now have more than enough cotton, so we can do through the trade route thingy and actually do... we can do exactly what I told you before. First of all, this one needs to go to another group. And that group, we need to rename that. This is Old World to Trelawney. The W. No, not there. Right here. And with an A. And with an E. Oh, come on. It's right here. I think I want to write that down. Old World to Trelawney. Okay. And these are... rename the group. That's actually the New World to the Old World. We already have cotton in here, but what we need to do is we need a clipper for that one, because this will now increase. It's still not a ton. You see, we still have just 35, so we should have some time until we need 200. But just in case, I want to use the bigger ship for that. Same for rum. I think we should have... this clipper is sitting in Cape Trelawney. But I think we can use that. Except... and we should also go to this
Awaiting new horizons.
and just throw that overboard. That's fine. Okay, and now this is just in Cape Trelawney. That's fine. So we now need a final trade route that will go to a new group. Not no group, new group. And that route will go, as I said, from Gretelwald to Cape Trelawney. It will take cotton fabric, 100, and you can be the dependents. accept. And this group is Old World to Trelawney, like this. Oh. Okay, perfect. So now let's head over to Cape Trelawney. No, to the Old World, and actually set the minimum stock for that to, I think, 50 should be more than enough. We can actually take a look at that. Cotton. We are using 2 per minute. So let's say one journey to the from the new world to the old world will take maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Let's say it's 20 minutes, so the minimum stock should be 40. We have 50, yeah, 50 should be fine for all of that. That's okay. Also, I would like to show you something I did in between episodes. So I rearranged some of the houses over here. I'm still not sure about the distribution of farmers and workers. So because at the moment we have some farm stuff over here, we have some farm stuff over here, we have the heavy industry back there. So I think we need to rearrange most of that. I brought all the artisans down to here, just behind the sewing machine factory and the fur dealer, which is good. The zoo got a little bit of extra exhibits. So we have, I think, 2 additional creatures in here. And I also, I went over to, how is it called? To Eli over here. Because he always has the most awesome items, and look what I found. It's great. I found, where is it? Over here. There is the trade union. I found Sir Lewis Brindley the chemist, which will give us 1 extra rum every 3 cycles and increase the productivity of the schnapps distilleries by 100%. So now take a look at that. If you go to all islands and go to rum, we now produce 11 rum, but we only need 6, and most of that is produced in Gretelwald. So Gretelwald itself is producing 7 rum per minute, which is crazy. Also think they produce way too much schnapps now. Yeah, look at that, they produce 20. So I think we can get rid of at least 2 of these schnapps distilleries. And we should still be fine, even with just rum.
Something's missing.
Yeah, this would give us 100 farmers back if we delete those 2. So let's do that. What we will do is I will add them back in blueprint mode. I never had this item before, but this is crazy. 100% productivity and 1 rum every 3rd cycle.
Nice day for
So
it.
look at that. They are operating at 200%. So that means every 3rd cycle is once every 45 seconds. So we will get 1 rum every 45 seconds from a farmer building. Isn't that amazing? I'm happy. Also, I think we have... Yeah, this is also something I found in between episodes. The fine conturier, which decreases workforce of all our framework knitters, and they also provide sales, so we don't need a sailmaker. We just get them from the framework knitters, which is awesome. I really underestimated the power of these. Provides extra goods from factories that you already have. It's basically free stuff. The trade union just costs 50. So yeah, that's free stuff. I like that. So that's also why I said we don't need to worry about rum. We just need to set up the rum trade route. So let's do that. We create a new route that goes from Gretelwald all the way to Cape Trelawney, Crown Falls, and we can use. We now have some of the schooners sitting around here, and you will take. Yeah, schooners will, by the way, not be enough for rum in the long term. But for the moment it should be enough. Yeah, that's why we have so many rum in here. Or so much rum. It's amazing. So we do that, accept. And now, the final thing before we finish today's episode is take a look at our ships. Because I think I sent all the ships with items back to Cape Trelawney. And to Crown Falls. So let's see, we should have the scavenger. Yeah, look at that. We have special scrap, we have a mortar, nice scrap, regular scrap, a fish. Fish good. Do we have the zoo already? Yeah, we do. It's over here. And I think we don't need that any longer. Yeah, not back here. This can go. Goodbye. And also, yeah, just for you, Warren, one of my, if not the longest subscriber that's regular active and looks joining the videos. Look what I bought just for you. He said that I should look for these gardens that you can buy at Madame Kahina because they look awesome. And you know what? You are damn right. These things are amazing. Can we change the layout of these? Oh, we can. Oh, that's gorgeous. Let's see. I think I have 3 of these, and we can pack them all right behind. Oh, look how they merge at the corners. Does this always work? So no matter, yeah, the entrance is always at the same spot. Oh, I like that. That's great. I would like to have this like that. Yeah, so we have this turning point right here. Maybe the other one around makes more sense. Like this. No, I think this is fine. Yeah, that's great. Let's see, we should also have some more ships that have stuff.
New orders, Admiral.
No, not this one. Not that one. We should have... Oh, you are at the wrong island. You should go to Crown Falls, man. And I want to send this. Oh no, I want to have the new echolocator. So, also, I am humbled. The university. And now we can...
Have you succeeded in your mission?
Yes.
Oh, it's all much clearer now. Do thank your expert gods at the university for all their brio.
Thank you. We now need to read that thing. It's right here. Okay, I read this off stream or off camera. If you want to read it, feel free. Pause the video and do so. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. In next episode, we will start by using these beautiful ornaments in the zoo and make that look really, really good. Thanks again. I will see you next time. Goodbye.